Selamat datang di channel video kami. Jangan lupa subscribe untuk update video-video terbaru kami.
Central Java in the 70s, many more rural train services survived, and each one seemed to require a different type of locomotive. In this case, a delightful British-built veteran, Class C51, supplied by the Bayer Peacock Company in Manchester in 1912. It was working a local train to Cepu through the plantations of the northern coastal region. In addition to the state railway, there are over 20 sugar estate railways throughout Java, and many of them still use steam power today, including this one, which runs to the Gondang Baru mill near Jogja. We came across it running beside the main road to Solo early one morning in 1974. Built by the Orenstein and Koppel Company in Germany in 1922, these small engines on the 70-centimetre gauge had the added charm of carrying nameplates inspired by local folklore. Regrettably, we had to abandon further exploration of the sugar trains as the race was still on to capture the fast-disappearing rarities on the state railways. The next stage of our search took us away from Java to Indonesia's largest island, Sumatra. The maps mark a railway from the coal mines in the central plateau down to the west coast port of Padang. Travellers on the coast had reported seeing some steam trains disappearing into the jungle, but as no passenger service had been offered for some years, the situation inland was uncertain. Finding the local roads quite passable, we followed one of these trains and, entering the equatorial rainforest at Kayu Tanam, found one of the best-kept secrets of the Indonesian railways. An entirely steam-operated rack-and-pinion line running through dense jungle in a highly scenic but little-known part of the country. Some trains did in fact carry a passenger coach, but as the service was so slow, it was not advertised. Gradients of 1 in 12 held down the train speed to about 4 miles per hour, and locomotives on the rack section pushed rather than pulled the trains as a precaution in case a broken coupling led to a runaway. The line was built to serve the coal mines, but there was little evidence of coal traffic on our visit, and the freight trains we did see were very short. It looked as though we had only just arrived in time to see the line still running. At the top of the incline was the depot at Padang Panjang. The oldest locomotive here was this Class E10 rack tank supplied by Esslingen in Germany in 1920. It was still steamed every day for local shunting, although the staff seemed to have found other uses for it. It still carried its original Dutch colonial number plate alongside its modern one. Only one of these early engines remained. The rest were actually quite new, 17 of them dating from the 1960s. They had a Giesel ejector in place of a conventional chimney and smarter-looking front ends, but mechanically they were copies of the old ones. The original builders, Esslingen, reluctantly took on this late order, but discontinued steam loco construction in 1966 after only 10 had been built, subcontracting the remainder to Nippon in Japan in 1967. This was Nippon's last steam order too. So the Sumatran E10s had the distinction of closing out the steam era in 2 factories on opposite sides of the world. The twice-weekly goods train on the branch to Bukit Tinggi was here being powered by number 1067, Nippon's last and the State Railway's newest steam locomotive. The rack locomotives operated on the compound system, whereby the steam is used twice. The driving wheels are driven in the normal way by high-pressure steam in the outside cylinders, whose low-pressure exhaust steam powers the internal pinion drive for the rack. Having duly exercised its rack motion, number 1055 left Padang Panjang for a descent of the rack with a mixed coal and passenger train for the coast. Just after leaving the station, the engine crawled slowly onto the rack section as the pinion was engaged. Just as the rack was essential to prevent slipping on the climb up the line, so it was just as vital to provide extra braking power to control the descent. When new customers were found for Sumatra's coal in the late 70s, the line was given a new lease of life. Rack diesels arrived in 1980, and the steam locos were set aside. The line has now celebrated its centenary, having been opened in 1892 with these small engines which, not surprisingly, were found inadequate for heavy coal haulage. Bigger engines soon appeared, the standard being set by these 8-coupled machines from SLM Switzerland in 1913.